Hello, welcome back to Plasticity Live. In this episode, we're gonna be doing some improvisations using Plasticity and the new text tool. All right, so we're gonna be making whatever, but we're also gonna be learning something about cut and imprinting curve into 3D solid object. All right, sounds complicated, but let's get started. So with the text objects in Plasticity, let's delete everything first. A, X. If you tap F to search or find your functions and then type in text, we get some kind of text, right? Plasticity says so. That's the default. If you type in like 1, 2, 3, for example, or just the alphabet. Blend. Oh, blend is not very clear, but so back to Plasticity. Yeah, say plastic. You can see that the text that's it's generating, it's actually just a bunch of curve. If we hit OK, we got a bunch of curve, and there are some of the curve is overlapping, like this A and the A and the P and the T. You might be thinking like, oh right, kind of disappointed because it's not like real text object, like in Blender, but they are just bunch of curve. But don't be disappointed, because in Plasticity, curve that's overlapping is actually like a kind of pretty powerful. That's the first thing that I realized after a while. So you're an artist, right? You should be very creative with the tool, but in order to be really creative, you're experimenting, and the tool can be really complicated. But in this case, Plasticity is a CAD, but it's not complicated, which is pretty cool, which is why I like working with Plasticity. Look, okay, this is what I'm talking about. Just now I just keep babbling, but curve, if you put curve on top of each other in Plasticity, they are actually live. You might notice as I'm moving thing around. So as you can see, you can just simply extrude based on a curve. This doesn't seem to be obvious at first, but after you use it for a while, curve can be easily extruded, right? So this is like the functions that's kind of familiar for 3D people. 3D people like to extrude, normally they like to extrude faces. In this case, we are just extruding what's originally a curve. When a bunch of curve placed on top of each other, and they're making like this planar area, it's become almost like a face. But in Plasticity, it's happening automatically, and we don't need to think about face. They're actually like a kind of like a, what do you call it, n-gon face, which is not quad, not four-sided face. They're n-gon, which can be pretty bad, but in this case, because you are working in Plasticity, you don't need to worry about any of that. Okay, so this is the first thing that I want to show you. Curve objects in Plasticity, the text object in Plasticity will generate curve, and by overlapping curve, you can hide the rest of the curve. You can keep going doing that. It's quite relaxing. You can create something like this very quickly. Let's save this. This is artful text. The second thing I want to show you. So if you have a text, let's say instead of using a cube, let's use a sphere. We're gonna be doing something a little bit crazy, like we want to draw a text on top of this sphere. Sounds really complicated, right? Again, let's create a text object. Let's in this case just type X and adjust the size. Okay, again we just hit OK. We only get a curve, so this curve has planarity. Let's select the curve and then G to move the curve. We want to imprint or cut the sphere, okay, using this curve. It sounds pretty crazy. You can do it in many different ways. First of all, obvious one, because this is a curve object, we can select the area inside the curve. We can extrude it. This is the obvious one. Now we have two solid. We still have the original curve. We can select this. We can do the boolean. So this is the operations that's plasticity can do, like a polygon modeling. You can do like a boolean. Select this, and then you can do like a Q. See, it's making like a different cut. You can also Q again. Boolean, union. Oh, this is all the operations that you can do, by the way. Let's do the union. Now we have everything kind of combined together, and you can start doing some 3D modeling, or just, I don't know, just, it's not exactly modeling, it's just beveling, fillet. Although, yeah, some people call it 3D modeling, but in this case, just pushing and pulling face. Okay, that's the artistic part of it. The easy bit. Actually, the easy part also kind of fun. You're not adding details whatsoever, but you can push and pull. So there's some kind of non-destructive feel about it. What's interesting, actually, underneath plasticity, I believe it's actually procedural. So you can do this kind of fancy thing. Okay, now we are not going to do that. That's the first way to make a cut or imprint. Second way, let's do it again. F text X. Go cutting the sphere again. Second method. If we make this, I'm just gonna scale this, so it's still a curve. Select the curve, I believe. Let's try from this camera view. If we tap C, which is a cut, and select the target bodies, and then right click. Oh, okay, I'm gonna select the curve and select the body, and then C. What's gonna happen is this: the curve's gonna cut into a sphere, and we're gonna end up with super interesting looking object. So we're gonna select the part of the object. This is also kind of creative, right? Suddenly we have a bunch of solid, and especially this part is the most interesting. We just kind of cutting the sphere using the text object X, and we get this new solid, and now we can have fun with this guy. Selecting face and then pushing and pulling. If you like this two face, you can actually extrude, or if you shift D, you can duplicate and you get a sheet. Okay, this is also something that you need to keep in mind, which is really cool. you are working with a curve and you are extruding it into solid or making a cut, whatever. But there's something in between called sheet, which is just a surface. A surface that is not solid unless you extrude it. In polygon, we call it just polygon face. In this case, if you have like a sheet object, you can actually do like a solidify. I forgot the name. Is it solidify? Thicken a sheet. Okay, thicken a sheet. Yeah, it says it's actually solidify. I just call it solidify. But you can have that, and then you can start doing this. I won't call it modeling, but it is modeling. You selecting edges and start doing the fillet, bevel or fillet. Okay, it's creative and then it's fun. It's a lot of fun actually. So that's the second way to create imprintations. But if you want to really imprint something on the solid, let's do it again. F text. This is method number 3. Okay, I just want to show you this because it's kind of important. This is this time we're gonna be precise, a little bit more precise. We want to kind of center it. This is still a curved object and this is a solid object. They are separated. They are separate. Now I'm selecting the curve and I want to tap F and then type in imprint. Shift I. It's this function have a shortcut Shift I, so it's important. I want to imprint a curve into a body. Select target body. Okay, suddenly we are actually projecting the curve into this solid. If you delete this curve, the imprinted curve will still be alive inside the solid. Amazing, right? So this can be bi-directional. Okay, so this is the default and then just hit OK. Sometimes the imprinted curve is actually showing at the back as well. In this case it doesn't. So now that we have imprinted curve, we can hide the original. This guy can be pushed as usual, so that's kind of cool. You can see as it goes deeper and deeper, it's actually, so it's respecting the imprinted curve, is respecting the solid surface. Okay, so you can push and pull. And yeah, I guess that's pretty cool in itself. And I can do like, I select the face and then Ctrl 2 convert my selection into edges, so I can do this kind of thing. Once you push and pull, you can start pushing and pulling other area. This is like the obvious thing, obvious functions that's artistic that you can do. Okay, sometimes if it goes red, that means you can't do that. It's failing to calculate the process. Okay, that's okay, so now you understand the whole process, right? Sort of. If I do F again and I go text, this is something I want to show you as well. I will type in O. Okay, O, letter O is so cool because why? Because it's got this, it creates two curves and it's still alive. And you can select this outer part and then you can extrude and you get the actual solid O that we know. Ctrl D, remember Ctrl D? It's like duplicate, but it's not. And you have this ability, suddenly after you use hotkey Ctrl D, you have this center, middle, whatever, it's like going through. Let's try center, okay? And we're gonna have this stamping. If I'm just doing 3D therapy every day and I just want to do like a stamping because it's so cool. We have this solid O and we are imprinting, I mean solid to solid. I just want to call it cookie cutter method, and we can use W difference. Okay, it's cutting something into this guy, and then you can do another Ctrl D, Ctrl D. Oh, okay, too many things going on. We should actually turn off the X-ray. There's a Japanese artist, Yayoi Kusama, that I often mention. The cool Yayoi Kusama loved to work with a circle. It's a very simple, primitive elements, right? You know, circle, and she likes to just imprint circles into everything. She also likes, I think there's another shapes that she likes. She likes like a cylinder, like a mushroom, and she likes to imprint it. If you are an artist with a little bit of OCD, you just want to do this all day. Okay, yeah, this is, it's not exactly imprinting, but I like this because it's a solid, and a solid, you just randomly placing solid on top of solid. I don't know why you want to do this, but it's fun. That's one thing, is for the 3D therapy. Ctrl D. You can actually do the opposite, I believe. What is it? X. Instead of doing difference, you can also boolean into this guy. Oh, yeah, XYZ is to change the directions. F to flip. Okay, F to flip, that's important. And once you place it, you can rotate and scale. I have shown you this before. Let's do a Q. That's gonna union it with this guy. In the previous video, I already showed you this. But in this case, we are working with a 3D. We are working with text object. It's not 3D. We are working with text objects, and text object is in Plasticity is a curve, and then you are working with solid and solid. Hide everything. In the end, you're gonna be left with just the main objects, and then you can select everything with A and then Q. Everything is gonna boolean everything into a single objects. Sometimes that doesn't work because they're kind of touching. They're not exactly touching. I think this is it's not an issue, but I just want to point this out. If they're not touching, you cannot boolean them together. So you really want to, there must be a better way to do this. You want to push this a little bit in, so you can boolean them everything. You can boolean everything together. Select all, Q, and it's gonna be merged into a single object. Now this is a very complex objects in CAD. Normally in CAD, you want to keep everything simple. If you look at the design around you inside your house, your fridge, maybe your PlayStation controller, your computer, monitor, your charger or mobile phone, everything, the bottle in front of you, they are simple, you know, they are made efficient and simple so they can reproduce it. In industrial design, they want to keep everything simple. If you are doing a 3D art, if you're a 3D artist using CAD, you can end up with this kind of crazy surface that I don't know what it is, but I'm just gonna call it weird. But you can send this to Blender and then you can remesh it and then sculpt it. But anyhow, in Plasticity itself, it's still like a CAD. They are still behaving like a CAD objects. You can push and pull. You can actually, these objects, this solid object is still pretty efficient in terms of design, and you can actually reproduce this, not just 3D printed, but actually make a cut. If you have like a, I don't know what they call it. If you study industrial design, you can actually make a machine that's doing this cut and exactly, precisely generating this surface. Okay, I believe we actually have that. Let's create a new objects. Start fresh. So now what we're gonna do? We're gonna create our final artworks, which is involving text, of course. Text. Gonna type in I and O. Oh, I and O is not very. Yeah, I like this, but let's try. This text is cool, but it's a little bit too complicated. I'm trying to find text that's a little bit modern. Yeah, I like this one, space mono, because it has this edge, and just gonna type in X and O. It's not okay. That's okay. I like this this text. So again, this is live objects. We want to keep it as an O, so I'm just gonna extrude. Select this area and then extrude. This guy can be higher. It doesn't need to be the same length. Imagine you are designing a house and you're such a cool architect. You want to have your house building looks like this. I don't know why. So, but you see the X from the font from the curve that we hide now is generated. It's consisting sharp edges, and yeah, you can work with that easily. This one have curve surface that we can push and pull. Okay, that's first to remember. You can tap E and you can extrude. Okay, remember that as well. That's kind of important. And you can start to get creative here. You see, there's some kind of procedurality, and it's not always obvious when doing push and pull. Seems like the Plasticity understand that. Yeah, okay. Just gonna keep. We can do this rounded one, or just keeping it hard edge for now. So I believe with Plasticity, this CAD for artists, I believe that we lots of things happening, like all the details happens, but you start with a basic block, you know, like you design your block object first. You blocking your objects, and then you start adding details. I believe that's how I try to make sense of these objects. I know I'm not a product designer, or I'm not an architect, and kind of like like 3D artist. I don't know, some people also call them 3D artists. Also, there are all kind of 3D artists, character designers, sculptor, hard surface modeler. I think Plasticity will be perfect for hard surface modeling people, 3D artists who likes to model things like tank, gun, cyberpunk stuff. I don't really like to model things like guns. I like to do like abstract things. I recommend you to watch the artist, the original developer of Box Cutter, and also take a look at Grid Modeler YouTube channel. Grid Modeler add-on for Blender also is doing this kind of thing, and I love their method, their way of thinking, and you can just do this all day. And Plasticity is similar to that, I think. So yeah, so far it's nothing too incredible there. You can start making cut that goes through using Imprint, whatever. Let's actually do something a little bit crazier, like draw a simple box, and then select this solid, and then Ctrl D, select the center, and then just cut in. Cut. And W. Now starting to get interesting, right? Make a cut. Can I scale? Yeah, I can scale. Right click. If it's a face, cut, we get a window. Yeah, because this is like a kind of like a house. Sometimes I cut it on the edge, and we get, you see, when I cut it on the edge, we get that kind of interesting bevel, very unusual cut. So you're the architect of this building. You can do whatever. And apparently you don't like just flat edge. You want to cut through everything that's just flat. Once you're happy doing this cut, right click or escape. Okay, we have a lot of cuts. You can still push and pull, which is pretty cool. In my opinion, this is like procedural, hidden procedurality inside Plasticity. And you can also remember, you can select the inside face. This is really weird things in Plasticity. Turn off the X-ray, select just this face that goes inside your solid main body, and then I forgot the hotkeys. What is the hotkeys? Alt D, alternative D, inverting a surface. Okay, I always forget that. Option D. If you right click, it's gonna merge with the original body, but if you just move this out, you get this cookie cutter that's the reverse of the original. And if you select something you can expand your selection by using Ctrl Shift plus, just in case I never mention it. You can do that sort of thing and then combine it. Once it's combined, it has a bit of procedurality, but it's become something else. And you can do like, I recommend you, if you do like this kind of detailing, do that the last, do this part the last, you know, otherwise it's gonna be hard to modify it later. Selecting face and then Ctrl 2, this kind of detailing, I mean making it rounded, do that the last. This is better, I mean beveling, okay. Sharp edge. You can do whatever. You can do whatever that you like. Look, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind that. Yeah, just keep detailing your X and O. Look at this surface. Okay, if I want to do one more thing. I just want to imprint something here. B and S, you know, B and S. I'm selecting this curve surface, space bar, F, BS. Oh, sorry, text. Type in BS. BS is not bullshit, it's Blender Sushi. Okay, it's the letter. Let's pick up the space mono. Yeah. In this case, just do it like this. Now, if you ever do this, okay, and then, oh man, I want to move this just using that grid. Okay, select this face again. Shift spacebar, you get this grid. Suddenly, your curve can magically move within that kind of planar grid. And then you turn off this temporary construction plane. Now you can imprint. Remember imprint? Yes. Select all the curve and then F, imprint curve into the body. And then right click. Hide. Magic. Okay, magic. We are imprinting this guy. Now we also have the inside. This is what I was talking about. Sometimes the crazy imprint operations goes inside. If you like it, you keep it. If you don't like it, you can just delete the curve using X. In this case, because it's accidental, but I kind of like it, I'm just gonna keep it. But it goes through everything. I don't know. X will delete it. Okay, so option curve will select most of the curve. You can X, delete that imprintations. If you like this part, of course you keep it. Yeah, some operations, I mean, you can push and pull, but sometimes it's just refusing to do so. Anyhow, yeah, we have this BS imprinted, and then you can keep doing crazy thing. Bevel or yeah. You can do this. This is a quick tips. Select the face, Ctrl 2, and then bevel it. Once you bevel, you can push and pull more easily. Ctrl 2. Sometimes you can't. Just want it a little bit. Okay, yeah, that's what I want. Once you have this, you can actually push and pull more easily. It's weird, but this is a type of things that's Plasticity can do really well. So even though we started with text object, the text object again, which is just like a curve originally. Once it becomes solid with all this sheet, all this it's like a polygon face, but it's not actually polygon face. Underneath is all just a bunch of sheet, like a surface that you can push and pull. If you cannot push and pull, you can always extrude it. E, extrude, and then Q. Yeah, you can do that sort of thing. It's like polygon operations, but we are still using CAD. So it's a. So I believe whatever happened here is built on top of this big body. So you can still sometimes push and pull the big body, not too much. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I recommend you to just get used to this. If you are 3D modeling inside Plasticity, I think it has a lot of terminology that's kind of overlapping between normal CAD and polygon modeling. It's not polygon modeling, but it's sort of behaving that like polygon modeling. If you really want to turn this into polygon, send it to Blender, and then you can continue there with grid modeler and get more detail. File, save as obj STL. In the latest version there's STL. Let's try this. XO STL, save. You can still export with the triangles. You can control the density, but if you are exporting as OBJ, you have more options. Trees, keep it quads, n-gon. If you want to keep modeling inside Blender, maybe even n-gons. You can keep everything pretty clean. Okay, cool. Blender. Oh, if you wanna go something crazier, try with the AI. Right? You design something using Plasticity like this. You can send it to AI and then do something crazy. There's something called reference only. Maybe this is for the next video. Stable diffusion AI have control net extensions with reference only, which basically if you provide this kind of design into the AI will try to be creative and try to make something based on that, and then you can use this to go back to Plasticity and then so on and so on. Never ending conversation language between AI and you. It's pretty crazy nowadays. It's like endless loop. Plasticity documents. Okay, we have this guy. Inside, from Plasticity to Blender, it's rotated incorrectly. RX minus 90. Get this. Once it is inside Blender, again, this is becoming a real, finally it's becoming a real polygon. Now you can work with face and do extrude like normally. And you can use grid modeler to continue working with this. Okay, so that should conclude my BSLIVE today. I talk a lot, but basically revolving around text inside Plasticity. So text is just a curve, but the curve can become a solid, and curve also have this kind of surface that you can work with, and then things just get more complicated from here on, because it's you're just detailing. For detailing, I suggest Blender and Grid Modeler or Blender and Box Cutter add-on. They both pretty powerful. Do I have Box Cutter here? Maybe I need to reinstall. Yeah, but I have Grid Modeler. So Grid Modeler is somewhere here. Right click. I have all these tools from Grid Modeler, but there's this Grid Modeler, and I can do cut that's like a grid and make a cut. I have to study Grid Modeler again. It's like working inside Plasticity, but you are selecting a face and then you right click and then you go to Grid Modeler and you have this grid, and with this grid you can draw something on top of the grid, and then you make a cut. Yeah, like that. It's like Plasticity, but Plasticity really hide a lot of things. It's making it easier, but now if you're inside Blender, it's real polygon objects, so you're dealing with edges, faces, and points. I work using Plasticity too much now. I forgot the shortcut. Ctrl B for bevel. Okay. Anyhow, I guess that's pretty much it. If you want to add a bevel to everything, you can select all and then right click, slow bevel. Yeah, you can bevel everything like that, or you can use modifier. So that's a quick look into Plasticity, text, objects, and you can be really creative with this, and how you can export it into Blender. Now inside Blender you can add more details. Alright, so thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.